Here we go. Word of the day is poetic justice. Remember, during Vocab, this should be the only thing on your screen. And remember, to be able to write anything, you have to do file, make a copy. So poetic justice, honestly, is one of my very favorite things to do creative writing with. Because it's just weirdly satisfying. Poetic justice is when you have like a really nasty, really evil character. They've been making all your other characters' lives difficult or really horrible. And then that evil bad character finally gets what's coming to them. That it's basically this idea of you get punishment for the bad things that you've done. So it's basically like karma is another way of thinking about poetic justice. And not only is poetic justice really fun for the reader, that when you get this moment, for what? For Ashland? Okay, yep, that's okay, just go quick. So poetic justice is not only fun for the reader, that it feels really satisfying. That you kind of almost annoy your reader with like your evil character, that they just constantly are making the story extra dramatic. But then by the end, usually, if that character gets what's coming to him, it feels really good. Plus, it's actually really fun to write. If you've never tried writing poetic justice, it's kind of satisfying for the creative writer as well. So raise your hand if you've ever heard that phrase, snitches get stitches. That's poetic justice. Or if you remember in Matilda, the book or the movie, the principal of Matilda's school, ignore your neighbors, guys. The principal, she's the trenchable, right? And she makes those poor kids' lives horrendous. The trenchable is so evil. And the trenchable, after doing all of that bad stuff, at the end of the story, she finally gets poetic justice, where she gets kind of run out of town, and all this kind of like shenanigans happen to her after she's made everybody's life really hard. So anyways, even something like The Wizard of Oz, you have the Wicked Witch of the West, the moment where she gets the water thrown on her and then she melts and screams, "I'm melting!" That's also poetic justice. Or the phrase, "What comes around, goes around." Yeah. And same with the yin-yang for the picture, that you can't have dark without light. Which is why in creative writing, if you never have a conflict in your story, or you've never really thought about how you're going to create the drama, or who or what the bad thing is going to be, you need dark to make the light stand out, and you need light to make the dark stand out. So that's why poetic justice is really fun. So they can create really good plot twists, which if you remember in 6th grade creative writing, the fancy way of saying plot twist is peripeteia. But let me show you a couple of examples while you're thinking about your example in the You Try box. So we're going to start with this one from Lord of the Rings. They're going to make us watch an ad really quick about Rocky Mountain Power. Okay, so this is from called Desolation of Smaug. Yeah, most movies and stories have poetic justice. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So in this story, in Lord of the Rings, what he's saying is not that important, so I'm going to talk over him. This dragon, whose name is Smaug, has been basically terrorizing this poor town for forever, like hundreds of years. And you can see the town is on fire. Now, this part is important because you see this boat, and in the boat, I know it's hard to see, there's the mayor of this town. We are going to have double poetic justice in this movie clip. The mayor of this town has basically been stealing from all the people. Instead of helping like a mayor should, he's been overtaxing them. So he's currently escaping in a boat rather than helping his citizens. He's escaping with all of the gold that he's stolen from them. So that becomes important later. And then Smaug is like trash talking this dude and kind of goading him. And I'm going to skip ahead because this part takes forever. So there's this special arrow that you get one chance that, yay, he happened to hit the one part of his armor that could be hit. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because this part takes forever. That after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of Smaug terrorizing these poor people and stealing all their gold and stealing all their food and lighting their houses on fire, poetic justice, Smaug finally, he took that 1 in a million shot But when Smaug falls, there's double poetic justice, because that's the mayor stealing everybody's gold. Boom! He got what was coming to him as well. So we get double poetic justice in that one. And then another example of poetic justice, because Sam was saying, most stories, most movies, most even video games would have poetic justice, where that bad person finally gets what's coming to him. So in Harry Potter #5, which is Order of the Phoenix, there's lots of memes about, admit it, you hated Professor Umbridge more than you hated Voldemort. Because she is horrendous. She's so horrible. The whole 5th year, she's constantly, like, really, she literally tortures Harry, right, at one point. She's imposes all of these rules on these kids. She's the kind of person who cannot control, she can't handle not having ultimate control. And so you can tell these kids are obviously taking a test, and she's overseeing all of that because she wants it to be perfect. And then Fred and George Weasley, who are the resident troublemakers, they're sick of her. By the end of the year, they're just like, yeah, no. You've spent all this time making our lives horrible. So now, we're going to take away your control, which is the one thing, especially for somebody who's, like, power hungry like that. And they cause utter chaos on a time that really shouldn't have chaos, which is a major, major test. And this whole scene is this great poetic justice. So much chaos. Lots of pranking. One of those classic, the book is so much better than the movie, because Fred and George Weasley do so much more than just this scene to Professor Umbridge. But that's okay. And by the end of it, so like all year long, she kept making all these really strict rules. Every couple of days, she came out with a stupid rule that everybody had to follow. And by the end of it, their fireworks destroy her whole display of all the different rules. So, I encourage you, as a creative writer, if you've never thought about incorporating poetic justice, it's fun to write, it's fun to read, it's super satisfying for your readers. I'm not saying that you have to do it as part of your choose your own adventure, but it could work for any story. Those are all the rules that just got destroyed. So there you go, guys. That is poetic justice. We are done. Let me hear just a couple of your answers really quick, just in case anybody else was stuck. They could steal your answer. So tell me yours. Yes. Yeah, I'm not, like, condoning that. I hope that, like, bad people get ran over by a bus. But in that fictional way, it was kind of glorious, right? That she's made everybody else's life really bad. Okay, yeah. Yes, that is, and you know, like in real life, that is why road rage can be so scary, is that you've got two drivers who are messing with each other, but there's too much like adrenaline, and somebody ends up, you know, messing with somebody else, but then they might end up crashing themselves. What's another one?
There's this one character that no one likes and no one could ever like, and you just go.
Right! You're just like, oh! And then finally when it happens, that's the moment where you're like, oh! Thank you! Yeah, okay, tell me yours and then I'll come back to you.
I don't know if it's when opposite, like, when Dean Grandmother says to do that, it's the same snowfall.
Yeah, so that is a form of poetic justice, for sure. Did you have an example too? Did I see your hand raised? Say again, never mind. Okay, last one.
I can't remember, like, the names and all that stuff, but
it's okay.
Hamlet.
Okay.
That Shakespeare, like, like, tried to, like, poison him.
Yep.
With the blade.
And then do you remember what happened after?
And then, like, didn't, like, they both get poisoned or something?
Yeah, yep. And so those moments of somebody does something bad, but maybe something bad happens to them in return.